Hello and welcome back. Right, we are going to get stuck straight in, literally straight to, I'm not sure if I want to do a time lapse. No, let's just check contracts as well, if we've had any contracts. I don't think we will have done. No, we have not. Got some little supply and transport ones. Right, let's crack on. This is a big contract. We need to be setting this, and we need to be, let's zoom in as best we can. Create job, nearest. Now we're going to try this because we've said this is. Yeah, we did, but I wanted to set him going on, but then he's going to damage. How do you know he won't damage crap? Right, let's just see what happens. Yeah. Right, what we're going to do then is I'm going to see what happens if we do that. I've got to work out why this is what's happening to cosplay, why it sort of sometimes works and then other times doesn't. Oh, no. Why it's... Let's try that again. This time, let's hope that doesn't do that weird thing. Right, let's try it again. Not in transport mode. Okay, let's try it with the header down. Very strange. Very strange indeed. I really don't get why it does this funny glitch. Truthfully don't. Create job. Nearest. Is it to do with me being in there then? That is really bizarre. That's... oh my life. Oh, let me just quickly check the settings for Coursely to make sure it is on... Yeah, stop while unloading, combine self-unload. Now, is the... yeah, we need to go and check to see if the... but yeah, you know. I need to grab that. I'm not sure if we were on. I think we were. Yeah, I was actually on the field. Let's just pull a little bit further on though. I'm a little bit precariously parked. Let's angle it so that we are furthest away from this. Right, 57%. Now then, what can we do? Let me just check our animals. I think we left it where everything was done though. Yeah, grain, health. And yeah, everything's definitely good. Smashing. All good. Right. I am going to wait, but this... oh yeah. I know what I'm going to do. I do know what I'm going to do actually. Let's go and grab the case. We're going to bring our repairee on as well. Now then, where? Brewing. Where did I leave the case? Oh, I hate it when you lose your tractors. Hate it. It'll be tucked inside somewhere underneath one of these. No, I know I left the let's go there. Yeah. Do you know, seriously. Yeah, I really do wish there would be a better zoom level where you could actually stay just above your tractor, because it isn't possible to always zoom in straight away. You always come from a height. Right, 80%. Right, where did we... I know we put it here. We put it at a yard. I think we could follow the tractor better, is my point. I was thinking about this earlier as well. This is definitely a use case for grabbing one of the... Oh, I'm overshooting. I need here. Oh, let me show you. I'm tired. I'm really tired. Absolutely shattered. I couldn't settle. Yeah, one of the belts. One of the meridians. I think that would be the best because they go high. Yeah, literally dump it on the floor and then stick it next to the big trailer, the lorry, and then literally, because the lorry is awkward, it really is awkward. I think I was trying to think of how would you do this in Great Britain with this type of thing, and they do actually go on to the fields, but yeah, I do like that. That's just literally loaded this tonight, that fill level for the harvesters. I think that's really good. I'll see if I can make the size of the text a little bit smaller though, but after the session. It is good, but it's a little bit too... Yeah, I like the damage level, but again, something small like that I think is sort of a little bit sufficient, especially when it does the colour coding. You don't really need it's so big, it takes up too much screen. I used to have the Crutchwood's Vehicle Inspector mod on FS19, and people really don't like that. It doesn't bother me terribly, but you've got to try to... You have got to have these mods on that are really... Especially if you're content creating and you're concentrating on talking to people. If you're just playing, it isn't quite the same as trying to talk to people and concentrate on doing the job as well. It takes... You're splitting your... Let's see what he does. He should be self-unloading. Oh, he is. Smashing. Oh, that's nice to know that's working. Yes, I've tweaked my sound settings because, oh my life, do they sound tinny. Since moving to my new laptop, it's awful. It sort of sounds like got an acoustic echo. I'm Windows 11 and it's got this enhanced audio setting, and I think it's that. I've switched it off, done a slight test record for a few seconds and then played it back, and it does actually sound quite normal now. So wow, that is quite a drop there. I never realised. Oh wow. Why is he not completely emptied? Oh, let's run next to him for a bit. Oh, I'd forgotten I told it to wait. I presume if he's going though and I'm unloading all of the time that he wouldn't actually do that. Surely. Not that I'm going to do that, of course. I might well dip in and out. I'm going to use this. Do you know? Let's do a bit of this ourselves. I do love courseplay, but you know, let's just get on with it. let's have a bit of fun. I am really tired, but do you ever get those times when you're listless and you just can't settle? And I thought, you know, Calmsden, it's in the name, Calmsden. Yeah, I thought, you know, it is really calming to go on the Calmsden map. I really love the green lush, you know, driving through the middle of the village. It's beautiful, and I thought, yeah, let's just kind of have a bit of a chill. That's why I'm just kicking back, switching courseplay off, just doing it the old-fashioned way. Well, when I say old-fashioned way, I mean relatively. Let's face it, the agricultural machinery of this type is relatively new in the grand scheme of the human timeline. So yes, when I say, yeah, I mean hypothetically, and especially machines of this type of caliber. Certainly all of the top big companies are certainly coming on in leaps and bounds on automation. I do sometimes wonder though, with automation, it's like cars, whether automation is so wonderful or not. There is something to be said for simplicity. The less complications you put into any kind of system, there's less to go wrong. I suppose there are going to people, especially farmers, who are probably shouting about now about aircon and things like that. Yeah, perhaps they are necessary, but is every gadget? I mean, there are some cars now that can pretty much drive themselves, but then apparently with cars like that, people find they're bored. Well, don't you think it's perhaps because something else is doing what you do? I mean, humans have got that amazing ability to do a skill when they get good at it, to the point where, as a driver, if you were to have someone who was learning to drive say to you, tell me, how do you drive? If you're a good driver, you'd have to turn around and say, I don't know, I just do it. And that's true of any skill that we master. When something is so much a part of us, but you start to add automation and everything's taken off you, then you're, I don't know, isn't that when laziness comes in? When you're not using, I mean, I don't mean there's not a time for auto drive, as in like in sci-fi movies, and if you were tired, and if it was foolproof. I mean, we've seen with the Tesla cars how amazing the human brain is, how it can't work out stationary objects, and yet that's something that human drivers can do. Of course, human drivers get tired, whereas but there's been so many accidents in the Tesla cars due to something the human brain is absolutely amazing doing. So yeah, I don't know, our brains are absolutely amazing, truly absolutely amazing. Yeah, I don't know whether should I time lapse this. No, it's not big enough, is it really? I do like the fact this has got a bigger tank though than the one we did a couple of days ago. I truly do. That's a question I would like to put to people. I watch Frithgar quite a bit, and now I watch Mr. CDP a lot, his videos. He is by far my favourite content creator, but I also like Frithgar. He's a completely different type of content creator to Mr. CDP. Both got different styles. I do like them both, but Frithgar was putting a question to his subscribers. Now, his subscriber base is massively more than mine, but that's not really the point. Now, I prefer to listen to people talking like I'm doing, but it's fairly obvious from the fact that Frithgar does a time-lapse series that some of his viewers actually prefer the time-lapse series to you trying to engage with the audience. And I was just wondering what everybody else thinks, whether that is, because you see, we're not all the same, are we? I mean, I literally do, I'd feel far more engaged if I was being directed around the farm by the farmer, and you telling, sort of giving you a guided tour, which explaining why you're doing something, and that type of thing. But obviously we're not all the same, and it sort of dawned on me that, well, because obviously I do time lapses, but I do a mix of the two. And there are some times, I think the last few sessions, I don't think I've done any on Calmsden because I've been mucking around with Courseplay more. And also I tend to, which I've done in FS19 a lot, I don't usually do what we're doing now. If there were 2 or 3 contracts, I would be juggling. I would be setting workers on one and doing another, and we would be looking after the animals or doing some of our own work on our own fields. Now obviously, presently we've not got enough fields to do that, and there's always a bit of that, but we're doing contracts obviously. But I do wonder what other people think of whether, yes, I mean, it is something that if people did like time lapses, there are some content creators that only do time lapses. Now to me, they don't really engage me, but not everyone's me. So what I'm saying is, please leave comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know whether whether I should make a time-lapse series that's just time-lapses. Chainsaw 100, Daggerwin's buddy that's been on quite a few of his Let's Plays, he does just time-lapses like that. As I say, I think he's great in the Daggerwin things. I think he's amazing. He often works really hard on those, and he's certainly not afraid of any task when you look at his Let's Plays. But yeah, it's not something that I personally really do like, but it's, yeah, please let me know what you think in the comments, because it is something that if somebody wanted a time-lapse, oh, did I just damage that? I would actually do a time-lapse series if that is what people do like as well. I might actually try it as well, you know, because my subscriber base, not everybody always responds to my questions. I am a starting content creator, but again, it's it's not about what just I think. I realise that it would be nice to engage, and if people think that is time lapses, then I'm game. Definitely, it's far less work for me. I've got some fantastic recording software that is absolutely up to the task of me just literally. The only thing is, it's obviously I must have a look at Frithgar's how he does it, because I don't know whether there is any where you explain what you're doing or you set rules, and then because I do mixers when I do time lapses, I'll talk and then I'll say, right, especially I do more on No Man's Land than anything because of the size of the fields. I will just like say my words, which is, you know, he says, you know. Yeah, I've forgotten my words. That's how tired I am. Gordon Bennett. Yeah, I've got my catchphrase, which under normal circumstances I would remember. At this very minute, I am really tired, dog weary. I just needed to relax, and I thought, you know, it's not much more relaxing than the Calmsden map. Let's just go and finish off that harvest. So yes, please let me know what you think about a time-lapse series, and I might give it a shot. But I think I might watch a few of Frithgar's time-lapse videos to see what format is people like. I mean, I've seen some, and literally sometimes people put text on it just to sort of explain what they're doing. But yeah, that's true. The ones that I've watched that just do time-lapses, they literally, in fact some of them say nothing, they just literally time-lapse from start to finish. So I mean, I'm up for whatever people think is they would like to watch, if I'm honest. I mean, I love the start from scratch start. I think to start from absolutely nothing and build up from nothing. This is I would love to do a start from scratch on Calmsden where we've got absolutely nada. We start with absolutely nothing, no tractors, no money. I'd like to give everything away, be on hard economy, and to begin with just build up from contracts. I would love to do that because I do love this map. I think it's amazing. Oxygen David is, it's funny, as I have said this, and this is not me being horrible to, I mean, I love No Man's Land, but that's a tough map. That is the ultimate in start from scratch. There are no contracts, but I'd love to. I did it on FS19, and I think I'm beginning to get to grips the learning curve of FS22. I don't mean I'm there. It's been so short, but I am getting to grips with what I do need to do. And if I miss the odd rolling, I'm really not bothered about losing 5%. Yeah, missing liming, missing ploughing, absolutely I'm worried about that. But yeah, I wouldn't care if I missed a rolling or a mulching sort of thing. Not saying I wouldn't do them, but what I'm saying is on No Man's Land there's been at least 2 or 3 years where I missed doing the rolling, where I just wasn't yet in the frame of mind. I'm still not 100% remembering to do that, so yeah, but I am getting there now. I really am. It's sort of, as I said, that was what I was talking about earlier about automatic skills. You have to do something quite a few times before it's automatic. And I mean, FS19, I'd got like that. You were almost a machine. You knew exactly what you needed to do, when you needed to do it. You knew the change of state on the fields, growth stages, or even actually liming, and then you could fertilise again. There were lots of different things that you knew would work. You'd built up that catalogue of how-tos and knowledge bases on what works and what doesn't. So yeah, FS22, I'm getting there. I can now. I'm readjusting to. I'm sort of getting used to the damage. That was, I think, the biggest change for me was the damage. It's awful. It's still, I think it's been tweaked, but not a lot. But I think I'm just getting used to it now. I don't like it, but it's definitely something I'm adjusting to and getting used to. And everything else, I mean, the money's always awful on Start From Scratch, on hard economy, which is my usually go-to. I like to set myself an absolute, the biggest challenge possible that you can, so that you can truly say I faced these particular elements of the game and I won. There are a lot of content creators who, and again, this is there. I like that challenge. I mean, there's a bad side to that challenge. I think I've dissed myself a few times by saying that there are sometimes I like that challenge, and sometimes it's that keeps me going. And then when I start to get to a certain stage where things start to settle down and get not predictable, but you're earning good money, all the rest of it, sometimes I get a bit bored and I want the challenge of starting again. But I've got to get over that. It's a bigger game than I'm playing, and especially with productions and all the rest, it's now I'd like to stay on the game a bit longer and enjoy the fruits of the labours that we've got to when we do get to that stage. So again, there's different things. I do love that challenge of starting from scratch, that fight, that challenge of, oh boy, it's tough. I'm down to I remember one of my favourites on FS19 was no, it's not green. Oh, it'll come to me. It's not. Oh, which one was it? What was it? I think it was the very first fit. The name will come to me, but I always find the more you chase, the more the name goes away. So I won't chase. I'll let it pop. That's what normally happens. Yeah, I remember on this Let's Play I bought a field, and it's funny, on that first session I had already been on the map and I'd already chosen the field in my head, and I ad-libbed. My guts, you've got to go with your gut feelings, even as a farmer, even though you might think, oh, it's just a game. It's like me yesterday's session when my gut was telling me that is not going through that gate, and it was right, and I listened to it, and it is true. You listen to your gut, even as a farmer. The knowledge that you do as even whether it's simulation or not, you still build up a set of skills based upon what you do in this game. So, yeah, I've actually, yeah, let's fill the lorry up in as I've overshot and gone past my thing with all my waffling. Right, now it's at the back one. He's filled the front, I think, hasn't he? That's funny that the AI couldn't work out that there was 2 sections to this. It was only seeing it as one. And oh no, it has actually put some in. So why did it go? Now then, I'm trying to think of what the name of that map is. Yeah, basically I was running on the map and I was literally talking to, like, I always class it as I'm talking to friends. That's how I always thought I'd struggle with this particular aspect of the talking section, like a lot of people. I thought, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. I always wanted to give content creation a go, but I thought, I'm going to struggle with it talking to people. And then I thought, not really. If I just do it as if I'm talking to a bunch of my friends, and that's how I do it. I'm just talking to friends that I've not met yet, and that's how I sort of treat this. I waffle along all day, but basically on this very first session I was running down the road. I was going to do it's one of the smallest fields on the map, and I stopped and I just got this gut feeling. My original feeling was to go for this one field, and it was a little bit bigger, but it was going to take more of the money, and that was my gut feeling, and I went with it, and I don't regret it. But it did. I remember that moment where you've obviously got only what you've got money-wise. I mean, I did have generators, but I'd got to that moment where I was preparing the fields, and I think I was down to something like £115. I literally filled up the fertiliser tank, and I'd got £115, and it filled just a tiny touch. And then I was out of things. Obviously I was working all myself. There were well, you could in FS19 actually go to minus with workers, but I did tend to try to, especially when you're starting, I use myself more than anything, although I did use Courseplay a lot, but not on that first time because I just didn't have the money. But yeah, I was doing it, and you get a gut wrenching feeling like, oh my life, am I going to do this? That challenge of like, have I bitten off more than I can chew? Did I pick the wrong field? But you just soldier on, and I can't remember if I actually did. It didn't matter. The bottom line is things don't always go to plan. So what? Cut the field without, it just gives you a bonus. You still get grass, you're still going to get bales. I mean, no one's saying you aim for that, but it was a bit like on my no man's land. The very first time I was getting really low on money, and I bought a new patch of land, and we did it on what I called a bridging loan because I knew I'd get a lot of bales off it, but I hadn't got the money to hire a windrower. So I thought, let's just go for it. We can cut the grass and just use the baler's width and just literally make silage bales. And I did that, and I said afterwards I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I did say this in the video, I don't mean I would do that forever. Of course the first thing I wanted to do is buy a windrower, but sometimes it doesn't matter if you can't always, and so what if you can't afford a worker? Do it yourself. The bottom line is you can do it. It's that moment of faith that I can do this and follow through to the end, and you will 9 out of 10 times succeed. I'm a terror for not wanting to reset vehicles. I really hate it, but I don't like using super strength either, so I'll often use a front loader to flip. I mean, I'm not bad at flipping tractors. I think I've said this before. One of my first maps I did used to do logging. I've erased forest after forest after forest on, I've forgotten the name of the map again. It's not a very popular map, but I loved it. It was an absolutely amazing. It's got no season support, and in FS19 toward the end I only did precision farming in seasons. I wanted to have the full gamut, everything. Oh, I missed a bit. The whole shebang, to literally sort of try to, and actually precision farming and seasons work so well together. A lot of people underestimate. Actually, they benefited you as a farmer, I actually found, because obviously there's no wastage of fertilizer and things like that there is in the base game. You just can't waste it. It switches it off as it's going over, so it is absolutely fantastic. So I love the fact that I really seriously miss precision farming. I really hope that DLC gets released for FS22, because I'll be one of the first to grab that, most definitely. But yeah, I'm crossing lines again. I'm actually half talking about one thing. Yeah, I mean, I have done lots and lots of. My point was basically on the map where I did logging, which remains forgotten in the recesses of my brain. It will come. it's there on the tip of my brain. I just can't quite. Anyway, what happened was quite frequently is you would literally drop the logs. The log trailer was so unstable. It was a really hilly map, so you would like take your load of logs, which was worth say 50 grand or something stupid. It was a big lorry, and let me just switch that off a minute. And literally, I would think I am not resetting that vehicle. There is no chance that I've literally spent an hour and a half chopping that wood. You think I'm going to reset? You've got another thing coming. So I would spend ages with front loaders, and one time there was one time I even hired the. Do you know, my word brain's terrible. The really massive but cheap tractor that was really slow. It was one of the American ones, Big Bud. That's right, it's come to me. Yeah, I would hire the Big Bud because I knew I needed the physics of a front loader. So I literally would get a front loader, and I would poke the middle of the logs, and push. But I also still needed the might of the Big Bud to give it a smack to make the logs. And it is amazing. People sort of knock the physics, but yeah, the physics aren't right, but they are not bad. I mean, Giants have done a very good job. To actually try to bring physics into a game is exceptionally difficult, and they have done a very good job, really. Yes, it's not perfect. We all know that. I mean, I've had floating bales because of straps on one of the bale trailers, which was laughable, obviously, because gravity literally stopped working on it. It was one of the Flegel bale trailers, one of those that's not, well, there are a few auto load now, but yeah, it was one of the DPW blah blah blah, one of those. It wasn't the modded one, because there were modded ones. It was the standard in-game one. So yeah, but that's I think it's been addressed. I know there was an update for it a couple of weeks ago, so I think they may have actually addressed the floating bales issue, thank goodness. Because when you're aiming for realism and your bales are floating off into the sky and hitting you on the back of your tractor, yeah, it is a bit disconcerting. But yeah, basically, because of that grounding that I did on that very first map that I played FS19 for, again, it was my learning curve. I wasn't playing with seasons at that time, I was playing base game. I became quite pig-headed about resetting vehicles. It sort of became a thing with me that I am not going to reset this vehicle, and nearly in all of my Let's Plays you will not see me very often. I think the only time I've done it was on Hors-Bellerin, where the worker actually dropped my tractor into the drink, and the only way, it was stuck in the water, the only way I could do that was to actually reset the vehicle. That's the only time, because you couldn't get in it wouldn't let you, otherwise I would have got it out. I was trying to fish bits and bobs out, which I did do on one of the episodes, but yeah, that's the only time I think I've ever given in. I usually will use the front load of the Sammy Argon in FS19. It was, you could not use the normal tricks of physics where you speed one way and you speed the other way. It got like a cage where the light stalks went up, that there's no way you could turn that, so you had to get a front loader and you had to literally lift that up until it was back on its wheels. And the amount of times I've had to do that, I refuse to do it. So we've all got these little things, where little foibles, but I just, yeah, I don't know what my point was with that, but yeah, I mean, it's, we've all got our little quirks, is I think what my point was. Little, where are we, yeah, well, we're not doing badly on this. It's too square for my liking. I like it to be a bit rounder. I can do proper going around corners then, but yeah, I'm turning too sharp and it's making horrible edges when I do it like that. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is we've all got our own play style, and there is no right and wrong. The same as what horrifies me is what I find fantastic is I love start from scratch. Most people, I love hard economy. I gave myself a little bit of time the first 4 or 5 weeks on, because I could not adjust to the damage, if I'm honest. I really could not adjust to that, and still I'm finding it difficult, but it's becoming part of the furniture now. It just is what it is. You've just got to accept it. and hope that a few mods are released with really good wear levels. Because yeah, it does drive me crazy, especially with the expensive tractors and you're paying £5,000. In fact, it's not always expensive tractors. I've got the Stayra, which is the cheapest chips tractor. I must have spent the equivalent of buying 2 new Stayras because of that tractor on No Man's Land that I've got, that's got something like 1,630 hours on it. I must have bought at least 3 Stayras from repair costs. If you leave that in the red, it's something like £5,000 to repair, and I don't know how many times I've done that. So yeah, it still drives me crazy, but I'm sort of getting used to it, and I am most things on FS22. Don't necessarily say I like some of the things. Don't get me wrong, I love some of the things as well. I love the fact that straps now strap things down properly. I remember on my Thornton I was literally talking and it drove me crazy. I'd even got that mod that did sort of try to go halfway to strap things, and I was driving down the road and everything was skittering off the back, and I was saying, people talk about realism, but how can you talk about realism when I can't strap something down on my thing and I'm losing stuff left, right and centre? I said, how can I aim for realism? I can't. And it is true. Now that to me is a massive leap forward, that we can strap things down and things don't move off. That was definitely a big white elephant in the room that now has been addressed. So yes, I'm well chuffed with some of the improvements that we've seen in or are seeing in FS22 that do address issues that we had in FS19, of course, and of course there's bugs and stuff like that. I know that myself, and it drives us crazy at times, but Giants are addressing most of the very serious issues, and I'm quite sure there'll be other and I think there have been silent patches as well, secret ones, because things are addressed that have been problems and then they just seem to go away, and there's been no major updates. So I think little silent updates are oh right, hang on, no, I didn't realise. Let's go fill in the Aperion. I don't think we're going to be far off, you know. I reckon with the Aperion we might actually, I don't know, it's hard to say, because canola's not one of the most, it's not like wheat or barley that produces an absolute humongous amount, so we might just about, oh I don't know, that's looking fairly full. Still got quite a bit, it's going to be close. Not that I don't mind literally if we do run to the shop. It's not like it's far, is it? Right, in fact, yeah, while we're up here, let's just run the length down. We've not got, it's not very wide, that middle section though. We are actually seriously getting this smaller and smaller with each pass, so this is getting to the point where I like it, where you're nearly done and you can see the end is in sight. Yeah, so all I'm saying sort of thing is that, I mean, we're all built differently. Most content creators, they'll whisk 2 million in and they'll muck around with the map, and they're storytellers. That's what they're. Now I still recognise this as a game, and I want to, within the game mechanics, what they do annoys me, because I want to do everything from within the game mechanics. I want to win. Not that you ever win, but I want to get to where I want to get to through the game mechanics. I don't want to whisk 2 million in and have lots of equipment and half of the fields. I want to get from having nothing to getting half of the map, you know, and I want to do so as quickly as possible, but also to make it interesting for people. But again, it's the real challenge that I like, that to make it tough, not easy. Then I can truly say, yeah, I deserve to be where I am. I didn't buy myself half of the field. I mean, again, new farmer, I could start with half the fields on the map on this particular thing, but I didn't earn that. There's no way that I should have had that level of. So yeah, to actually do it yourself and to start with 1 field and then end with 10, yeah, that to me that's a win. You can see my progress. I suppose that's the other thing as well. your progress is more. I mean, some content creators will start and they've got like fantastic equipment, and you like think, yeah, but where's the growth? You know, like you've already got fantastic tractors. I usually start with quite weak tractors, unless I'm lucky. I mean, there have been a couple of Let's Plays. I think I got a Massey Ferguson 280 horsepower on one. I mean, I've got the case a couple of times. I got that on my Elm Creek Let's Play. I got that. It was the very first tractor I got. I mean, that is an absolute firm favourite of mine. To start with a tractor that's 261 horsepower, now that is a bonus. And I mean, the thing is with the case, the 7250, is the fact you can even put narrows on it, which is quite rare for the medium big tractors. So I love that tractor. It's one of the most underestimated mid-sized tractors in the game. It may be a bit boxy, and it might be not the fastest, but it's a good all-rounder. Yeah, it's not the best at steering, but it's not awful. It's one of those so mediocre tractors in so many ways, but it's there. It really is. And it's, I mean, that the new modded one, the one that I've got in this very Let's Play, 103 grand for a 249 horsepower tractor. Seriously? What's not to like? 26 miles an hour, not the fastest, but certainly not slow. So yeah, it's sometimes recognising the true worth in something. It's a bit like, I mean, I've got the Fendt GT now. I've got literally, it was supposed to be ready in January, and I missed it, and then I went on to, I think it was Farmer Klein's thing, and he literally showed the link and that in his game. So I've now got the Fendt GT, one of my absolute favourites. It is not like the one before. It is like the one before. It's got some improvements and some things that aren't, some things that are not as good. You used to have a 7.1 metre mower, now it only has a 2 metre on one side. That to me was an absolute humongous letdown, because I used to use it as my mowing machine. But again, it's still one of its biggest jobs for me was as a fertiliser spreader, because it's got that internal bed that you can stick fertiliser on. That is a massive advantage. So I'm still going to have it, and it's also 115 horsepower now, so it's not a snippet. It's cheap. You can have a liquid tank on it, so you can like use it for water, you can use it for liquid fertiliser, you can use it as a sprayer, and you can even stick Pepe 7, I'll see if I can try and remember his number, 789, 798, Pepe's front lifter mod. It accepts it, so it's no good as mowing. I did try it because I thought, well, can I stick the smallest set of mowers on this? It's too high, it doesn't cut the grass properly. So yeah, no, it can't. So there's no way I can use that as a mower. But there are lots of tractors I can. That's not its only job, but it'll still be definitely a firm favourite. Also, one big advantage, the one thing about the Fendt GT in FS19 was it was 19 miles an hour. Seriously slow. It's 26 miles an hour now. It's absolutely amazing. So yes, I shall definitely 100% be using the Fendt GT in my Let's Plays going forward, and not necessarily waiting for, so far because of the sales and because I'm starting with 300 grand, I've done like on this one where I speed up time. But it's possible for me now to think, well, I've got 300 grand, I can actually buy 2 tractors. There's the, I think it's a 6300 John Deere's. Again, I used to have those. I don't know if it's the exact same number, but I used to have those sort of cheaper ones where they hadn't got the front 3 link, and they were again firm favourites. And I used to use the front loader with the adapter, and which is a 3-point link basically, and used to use utensils on that. Obviously, you could even mow with it. It's phenomenal. So yeah, again, we haven't got any. That's the one thing we haven't got yet, and that's weak mowers. We've not got any mowers that are like really low horsepower, not for a front and a back. I think yeah, there's not enough horsepower. That's where the Fendt GT came into its own, because it had those funny sickle mowers, but it still was 7 meters, the old one. So yeah, I mean, I would love it if someone would bring sickle mowers out, a small set. I mean, there's that new fantastic front windrow, a 6 meter windrow. I mean, that is an absolute amazing mod. I mean, I know there's also expensive balers that have got that built-in windrower, which there were those in FS19, although they weren't an official mod. They weren't, you know, you could get. I know I had one for a little bit, and I thought, no, I don't like this. It doesn't feel right using a mod that's not official. But I mean, this now is a proper mod hub mod. It's got a built-in windrower as well. Of course, the baler's expensive. Well, of course it is. You know, you got 2 items in one item, so you got to add your massive windrower and your baler price together and think, well, yeah, it's worth it. And also, not only that, I love things that do 2 jobs in one. I mean, I love the on my Horbelleron and No Man's Land. For ages, I used the weeder seeder that did canola. 9 meter. It's really low horsepower, and it also weeds at the same time as it seeds. I've never needed to spray my fields on No Man's Land, my canola field, ever since having the weeder seeder, because it actually weeds as it seeds, and I've never had a single weed grow since that. So there's some things that have amazing consequences when you use them that you didn't realise. I never realised it would work like that, but it does. It's fantastic. So yeah, I mean, there's things that do 2 things in one. Those mowers that windrow. I mean, I think there's the class Dizo. I used to always use the I'll show you, but it was the modded one. I can't. As I say, my word brain's rubbish. I can't think of me. Yeah. Now, I've always called it Pottinger. Mr. Sealy P said Puttinger, and looking at the O, it does look a bit of a weird one. So yeah, whatever. I've always said Pottinger, but it was the modded one that had a windrower on the back, so it literally produced one massive windrow. Now that was my go-to, because again, it does 2 things. It mows and windrows. You didn't need a windrower. So again, I love things like that. So if you could have a front windrower and you can bale at the same time, that is absolutely amazing. Ooh. Oh, of course it's a contract. That was a scary moment. Ooh. If that was my field, I would have damaged that. Right. Oh, that's good. That was not bad. I think this is going to fill it, though. I seriously do. Yeah. So I love those things, the multi-purpose things. And sometimes you've got to work out as well, because sometimes people think, oh, well, it's only... Yeah, but if someone does 2 jobs, if it was normally a 12 metre and you've got a 6 metre, but it cultivates and ploughs at the same time, well, actually, you've got to think it's actually really a 12 metre, because it's doing 2 things at once. It's not as simple as you think it is. Oh, I don't know, you know. I think we may get some more in. Let's have a look. How much have we got? Ooh, not a lot. It's going to be close. Fantastic. I reckon we may just about get this in. Yes, I mean, I love it. I love that learning. You know, that moment. Or what did I have in FS19 where I found, and it was... I always wondered why people released those fertiliser spreaders that were only 6 metres and stuff like that. I thought, why do people do that? And then I realised, I can't remember what the piece of equipment was. Oh, what was it? But you could actually do 2 jobs at once, and I can't remember if it was ploughing. It may have been ploughing and fertilising with a front plough that which we've got back in the game now, but it wasn't a 6-stroke 9 metre, I think it was just a 6. But it may have been something else. Bottom line is, I had that on the back. Oh, and that was it as well. It also had a trailer hitch, and you could put a small trailer on the back so you could fertilise, and it only got a small capacity, but you could stick I used to grab the little tiny what do you know, words, they're totally escaping me. The Massey Ferguson pack, the little tiny 4-ton trailer that was in that, I used to stick that on the back because it got a trailer hitch. I could have 4 ton of that, and literally you could fertilise whilst you were ploughing. I loved the fact it was such a feeling, such a buzz to think, oh my life, Now I understand why people create the small ones. It's because they think outside the box and they do two things at once, and that feeling of when you've mastered something, or that eureka moment, it's priceless. And sometimes it can be short-lived and you can think, yeah, well, it's good, but then you find something that's better. But that's not the point. It's that moment is priceless. So yeah, I love it. I love things like the Fendt GT and things. Sometimes it's a bit like we did the all-purpose trailer, and then we've gone for the other one. Yeah, but we have. But that doesn't mean to say the all-purpose one isn't good. The fact that it's actually quite an advantage that you can stick. We've got 4 pallets, or we're up to 4 pallets of 2 tons. In fact, you could probably get 6 on. I was looking at the trailer, so that is 6 2-ton sets of seeds, which is a massive advantage over the other one that we've got, which is just 3 tons. So everything's got advantages and disadvantages. But again, you can sometimes use something in a way that it wasn't necessarily meant to. I mean, my favourite mod, and again, it's nothing special, was the transporter mod. It was very similar to the green one that we've got in this. But it was also a shovel. In the end, it was like $2,000, and it was a shovel. And the amount of times I've used telehandlers trying to get the level right to get muck off the floor in, if you're animals, you never had to muck around with that. You just lowered it. Is that it? No, there's a bit this side. You just lowered it and backed your tractor up, and that was it. It just sorted it for you. Now, can we get all this in the thing? Well, that was, yeah, I like that. That was fantastic. Now then, moment of truth. I'm going to shut up for 10 minutes now, and I'll look in editing to see if there's anything I'm not quite finished. Wow, that was a big field. I remember us fertilising this early on. It's a monster. Will we get this in? I'm not sure. It looks going to be close. Ah, no, it's not. It's not going to be close. It's not going to be possible. That's full. Wow. Facts. Yeah, I'm being silly. I want the lorry first. In case there was any spare, I'd sooner it be in ours than theirs, because then the contract could be ended. And yes, I do know I need to come and get some out of the harvester as well, but now then, fun and games. Yeah. Oh wow, our Perion is carries more than this. Right, let's home in a little. Wow. I can see what they say about these being a bit underpowered. The tractors are much stronger at pulling 40 tons than this. I thought they'd addressed that. I thought people had said that the power thing with the trucks had been addressed, but it's a bit... doesn't particularly like this. Now let's try and get the best possible angle to get out of the field. Straight out, so we're going to need to... can't get too close to the left though, otherwise it's going to cause problems of its own. Got to get this angle as close to possible. That was what I call close. Wow. Yeah, if this was... I would do this a different way now. I would leave this out on the grass verge right against the thing, and then literally force tip from my trailer outside, and then literally grab one of the again, they are. I love those new belts. They are absolutely amazing because of how high they go. The meridians. That was the only shortcoming to the original lizard ones. They didn't go very high. But yeah, I do love those. I shall use those. I've used them on No Man's Land. I hired one, and then eventually I bought one. They're so useful. Now then, Bay 2. Moment of truth. Front. So I love that. Tip side indicator, absolutely amazing mod. Right, so we're on the front, so it is funny, as I say, sometimes it's not always the big mods that you miss the most. I love the tip side indicator. I missed that until it came back. Say the Fendt GT, which now I've got back. Yes, it's not the same. It's better in some ways and worse in others. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. That gave me money. Farmstore Bay 1. Oh my life. Great. Thank goodness it wasn't the entire truckload. Oh well. If push comes to shove, I shall buy some canola. So I think that is the first one, isn't it? Let's have a look on the map. It'll have a big question mark over it. Oh. No, it is actually where I am now. I think. Yeah, it is. Wow. If this doesn't give me money, then I know I'm definitely right. I always forget how to... Please don't give me money. Yay! Smashing, so it is the right one. Fantastic. Now I'm sweating. Really am. And I am not using this again. I am not. I refuse. The Hyperion's definitely bad enough, but yeah, we shall stick this down the side here. We shall use ours, even though we're going to need to go back twice. Right. Let's grab the Magnum. At least with the Hyperion, we may get out of the actual proper entrance to the field. May. Still, yeah, still going to be a challenge. But oh, actually, yeah, this is going the wrong way. So no. Oh no, this is struggling almost as much actually. And it's fighting with me to try to keep pushing me left. So yeah, it is just as bad, if not worse, than the truck. It looks to me more like the 3-point lick. The trailer attaches at a weird angle. Again, that's always the case, isn't it? Some tractors work better with some equipment. You find that some work well with certain ones, certain trailers. That's another thing that you build up. I mean, I had a few firm favourites of things. Some things that dropped quite late as well in FS19. There were a couple of trailers that I had from 82 Studios for ages, and then there were those magic ones from Rawley Christie that looked smaller. They were a bit of TARDIS-y. 40 odd tons, and they then became an absolute firm favourite. The same as 82 Studio used to do a liquid tanker, the same, and again it was big. Especially on English maps, things that are very long cause a lot of grief. So the Rawley Christie ones were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, not that the 82 Studio ones weren't, but on the English maps they were more of a problem. So let's just hope to goodness we can actually dump enough, or we're going to be buying some canola. tip. So then, can you... is it down this one? It is, isn't it? Or is it? Ooh, I don't know that it is. This doesn't look right. You can still get, thank goodness. It wasn't the same way that I went though. Definitely a different route. But no, not much to see, is there really, with the... Oh, but I got 10 tons left. 74%. Oh, this is going to be a bit close. This is twice I've done this. Made stupid mistakes. Oh, my life. Oh well, we will buy some. If push comes to shove, it's my mistake. This will be it though for this Let's Play. I knew this was going to take a while. I did say that. It was one of those contracts. Sometimes you've just got to follow where the white rabbit leads, haven't you? Truthfully, it's not always about... if there's a contract where you can make money, it's not always about... I mean, sometimes it is, like planting a field of potatoes or something like that. They are contracts I tend to steer clear of because it's going to take me 4 hours to do, and I just don't think it's worth my time. I love fertiliser contracts because obviously they are fantastic, and because of the spread of the fertiliser spread, and also if you've got the big sprayers, they're the same. Right, moment of truth. It's getting close. Now I'm not as statistically good as Mr. CLP. He can usually pretty much work out. There's some magic numbers, aren't there? 74% or something like that that they are saying is the... so really, technically, if you get it all off the field, he usually puts it in storage and then grabs it. We're not off all of the field. We've got this 10 ton here, so well, I'm going to need to stick that. Now then, let's see if we can guess. Yeah, definitely more room. Obviously, a lot of these content creators have been at this for years, so they know the business very well. Whereas me, also, I suppose sometimes I like to not know everything. I like some of it still to be a bit of a mystery. If you just see nuts and bolts with anything, I think it loses its magic a little bit. I mean, as a content creator, you are working at this more than enjoying, but I actually love creating the content, and I love this map. I do thoroughly. But again, if you've been doing it for 10 years, who's to say what you'll still feel like? Moment of truth. Da, da, da. Will we do it or will we not? That is the question. I'm not going to lose any sleep. I'll buy some if necessary. I will. It's I suppose that is one bit where we are a little bit spoilt by things like the multi-fruits, because to be honest, the only way you would fix this is if you had some canola in store yourself before things like the multi-fruit. But let's be realistic as well. I mean, it would be that you could buy things from other farmers and from a store. Yes, of course it would cost you, that's without a shadow of a doubt, but so I'm glad that we have got things like that and like the production's inputs buying now. That's a brilliant idea. I keep saying on my No Man's Land, so far to date I have never bought, but on my other Let's Plays I have done, because No Man's Land was more about me, us getting what we want. But even that, no one was going to build a massive 80 grand factory and then only put in that factory what you produce. You just wouldn't do it. It's a business, so of course you'd buy stuff into, because it's all about making profit. Yes, of course it costs you more than if you could produce it yourself, but yeah. So again, even on No Man's Land, I do love the fact now you can buy that, the production inputs, literally buy the products to do it yourself. I will definitely be making use of that. I've asked my subscribers to ask whether they think I should be doing that on that particular one. I was never going to get that. Oh my life. Yeah, wow, that was lucky though. Truthfully was. Right. Fantastic. That's twice we've done. I'm going to have to get better at this. This is ridiculous. Right, let's grab that. Collect. And let's refresh. Ah! No! Has that hit refresh? Absolutely. I said refresh, not take. Do you know? Wow, it's another one of those. Do you know, we're not going to do it. Oh, my life. Oh, great. They take the money from you. Oh, that is so annoying. I'm gonna have to look in editing, because everyone knows that was literally a mistake. I actually clicked the right thing. I don't know why that didn't work. So now I've just lost all the money that we got, minus 9,000. I will look in editing and I'll reimburse that next session, because that is ridiculous. That's a mechanics issue. That's really not anything other than that. Oh, do you know, isn't that amazing? That's the only trouble with games, isn't it? Sometimes one wrong click of the mouse, and it was obvious I didn't mean to do it, but that's it. You can't tell a game that, can you? Anyway, we'll sort this out next time. I'll look in editing to see what actually was the final amount that we had, because we were getting to 120, 130,000. In fact, we must have been, if we're at minus 9, up to about 140 something to lose, to be a minus. So yeah, I don't know, we're just doing well. Right, I'll reimburse us. I will sort it out. We'll write the amount down and sort it out next time. Anyway, without any further ado, although it looks like we're doing terribly on screen at this precise moment in time, we shall sort this issue out, and we shall put us to where we should be. We're already in enough debt without a game mechanics error. Anyway, without any further ado, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're going to stick with me on this journey on Calmsden, and I'm going to say goodbye for now.